Hello, my name is Peter and welcome to Crushing Comics. I'm here with a haul around the world, a haul of books from the United States that I got shipped here to my home in New Zealand to continue my addiction to collected editions. And this one, this is a lot of books. So let's dig in. This is my haul from early March. It got here a long time ago, and I've just been waiting to unwrap it. Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, we're gonna put that aside because we're gonna do those all together. Ooh, Cable and X-Force, Onslaught Rising. So this is really kind of Cable and X-Force Volume 2, because I think there's a Volume 1 trade paperback. Marvel's going all in and getting Cable collected because he's in the Deadpool movie. This collects Cable, or X-Force rather, 49 to 56 and Cable 29 to 31, which is kind of a joke because I'm pretty sure that's already been collected. If not in Cable Classic, then maybe in an X-Men Classic, but this is uncollected X-Force. And it does take us right up to Onslaught. So thus the Onslaught Rising. So I'm never going to look a collection of previously uncollected comic books in the mouth. I mean, I might look it in the mouth. I'm not going to look the gift horse who gave it to me in the mouth, though. So very happy to have that as part of my collection. Next, my favorite series of all time, Excalibur. Excalibur Cross Time Caper. This is the second epic collection in the Excalibur Epic Collection line. The Cross Time Caper was a long story where the Excalibur team was kind of hopping from reality to reality to try to fix some problems and also make it back to their own. You've heard me on many occasions talk about how I do not enjoy alternate reality stories, but alternate reality was baked into Excalibur because of the nature of Captain Britain Court, and it still made sense for the team. They weren't traveling through realities like pick up alternate reality characters. Like they came back as the same team. Well, not the same team, but they came back as the same group of characters that left without like all these cross-dimension alternatives that we wind up with now. But it was an interesting cross-dimensional story, and I really like it. A lot of, did Alan Davis draw much of this? Alan Davis did draw some of it, but not a lot. I think Rick Leonardi wound up being the artist on a lot of this. So, collects Excalibur all the way through 30. If we get a next epic collection, it will actually cross out of what was previously collected in Excalibur Classic editions to hit the gap of only uncollected Excalibur issues from here into the 60s. So I'm looking forward to number 3. More epic collections. This is a heavy epic collection order. Here comes Daredevil, the Man of Fear, Epic Collection, Volume 2. I think we already have Volume 3. Volume 2 collects through the end of the Daredevil Omnibus, issues 22 through 41, Annual 1, Fantastic 473, and Not Brand number 4. Daredevil is not as classic in this Silver Age classic period as, wow, that's a big one, as some of the other Marvel titles. He's kind of like also ran Spider-Man. Daredevil doesn't really get cool in my opinion until around issue, I think it's 88, when Black Widow joins the proceedings and he eventually winds up in San Francisco. But I already have this in Marvel Masterworks, but I love epic collections. There are 2 or more Marvel Masterworks each, and maybe eventually I will downsize and not have both formats. One more epic collection. It is New Mutants Epic Collection number 6. Collecting Exterminators 1 through 4 and New Mutants 71 through 85. This book completes the reprint coverage of New Mutants. We have every New Mutants issue now covered in reprint because Cable and New Mutants books start collecting with issue number 86, and previous oversized X-Men collections collect up through issue, and actually past issue number 71. So I can now finally read the complete New Mutants. I do think this skips an annual, which is a little bit strange. Maybe they're going to put it in the next one. Because New Mutants number 76, if memory serves, is part of Atlantis Attacks. Great cover. And they didn't put the Atlantis Attacks annual in here. So that's a little bit strange, but who knows? Marvel has some kind of plan. Maybe since Atlantis Attacks was like this annuals crossover, maybe we're gonna get like an Atlantis Attacks Epic collection. I'm trying to see it on the shelf if it would. I might fit into 2 Epic collections. So anyway, a little weird to exclude that, Marvel, and your Epic line that's supposed to include everything. Okay. So there's actually a group of books in this order that I want to try to get all together here. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. Here's one. And here's one. Okay. So this is Lady Mechanika. And also another series by that same creator, Wraithborn. So the creator is Joe Benitez. And I picked up the first Lady Mechanika back in that period where I was like buying every possible thing because it looked cool and I wanted to check it out. The art was great. I totally dig a female protagonist. I love to show indie comics releasers that I am supporting them and their female protagonists, especially when they're not all TNA and they actually are just cool looking and in action. And I finally got around to reading. I was good and I bought the first one and was like, you're not buying anymore until you read the first one. And I finally started reading the first one and there's just a certain something about it that reminds me of classic Image, which we all know that I love. The art is definitely kind of somewhat David Finchy. Which certainly has its roots in that Image, that Jim Lee Image style of art. But something about the narration too, just like a really wordy comic. Back in those early days of Wildstorm, Brendan Choi, you know, wrote a lot of dialogue, but then also a lot of narrative boxes, because he was super influenced by Chris Claremont. And so I totally am a fool for any comic that's got that kind of a sense these days. And then Wraithborn, I don't think it actually ties in. It's just another series. So there's this original Wraithborn, which looks much more like late 90s TNA Image. I mean, look at that butt. And then there's Wraithborn Redux. So I was like, well, if we're going to get his complete Lady Mechanika model, might as well throw the Wraithborn in as well. Okay, so now we've got this last little pile from this order. Probably a little bit quicker here. So this is Mystery Men, The Golden Age. It's a Marvel present-day series that is a throwback to a previous era of comics written by David Liss and illustrated by Patrick Zurcher, who's a fantastic illustrator. It was just one of those things that I'm like, is Marvel ever going to collect it? And they did. Who knows why, because I don't think any of these things are really tying into anything in the present day. But hey, I'll take a 5-issue collection for $20 after discount that fills in a gap. Because I really, for a while, and actually I got there, not just for a while, my intent was to have the entirety of Marvel, this is so messed up, from 2000 to present. Now I gave up at the end of Marvel Now when I stopped buying collected Marvel, but I have all the collections, and if the collections didn't exist, I have floppies. Now I started that mission before there was Marvel Unlimited. Now you ask yourself, why, Peter? Why did you need to do that when it's all in the palm of your hand on the internet? I don't know, but they're all here in New Zealand with me, so they're not going anywhere. Letter 44, number 5. Is this the final one? Because I do recall, no, number 6, because I didn't realize it was Roman numeral. I just thought it was really messed up, number 5. I do believe last time we had a Letter 44 collection, I tried to tell you it was the last one. That was a lie. This is the final Letter 44 collection. It's a great indie series by Charles Soule that is about astronauts being sent to space to investigate the potential of alien life and the complete meltdown of democracy happening on Earth while they are in space. So who knows, this could be documenting something that's happening right now. More Lumberjanes Volume 8. It's crazy, A, that it's Volume 8, but B, that there's so much more that has not been reprinted. This captures Lumberjanes 29 through 32. Every book is 4 issues like clockwork. And Lumberjanes just published issue 50. So there are 18 more issues that have yet to be collected. So 5 more collections that they're just sitting on as they slowly trickle out Lumberjanes. Huge favorite in our house. They do an oversized collection of Lumberjanes, and I give all of these trade paperbacks to my daughter because she has learned to read from them and she can sit and read them herself, which is crazy. She's not even 5. And she just was reading me the other day, The Little Prince, like full paragraphs from it. I could not read like that until I was almost 7, and she's just like cruising. Amazing. Comic books. Great for literacy. And they say, you know, that the part of a child's reading level is determined by how many books are in the home. So I think this was probably, that complete Marvel from 2000 to present was a good investment if you think about it that way. But, you know, my point there is they do oversized hardcovers of Lumberjanes. And I kind of want to get them because, like, I love Lumberjanes and I read it myself now. Although I didn't like it at first, but I grew to love it. But it's kind of, and she, like, beats these to death. Like, and they're very well-made books. But she, I mean, this child drags them all over the universe and certainly their planet Earth with her. And so part of me wants the hardcovers for me or for her when she's older, but then part of me is like, dude, palm of your hand, it's on the internet, pardon me, get with it. This series I started buying, and once I start, I can't stop myself. This is Uber by Kieran Gillen and Daniel Gett, who's not the original artist on this. And I don't know. At one point, Kieran Gillen was my favorite comic author. I don't know that he is anymore, largely because of the series, maybe. And Wicked and Divine, which I just do not get. And I'm a huge music fan. And a huge Jamie McKelvey fan. But this series is about an alternate version of World War II where the Nazis had superhumans on their side and, like, what would happen. Really hard to get excited about reading about Nazis right now because there's so many of them in the real world. And they were all in the real world too when they started doing the series, but we weren't just seeing them on the news being called good people on both sides. So I'm a little less excited about this than I maybe was a few years ago. It's good, but it's really brutal reading. Like, Gillen really goes in for the historical accuracy of the different battles and troop movements at the time and, like, what would have happened if they had gone a different way. And it's a hard read. I'm happy to support him. I don't always love Avatar Press books because Avatar Press really does the most in trying to make their books bloody and gory to catch attention. And the first edition of Uber had a little bit of that. I mean, this is a decomposing body warning, but it's not actually that graphic. But I do want to support Gillen, and at this point I've got a huge bookshelf of these, so sorry that got so negative and sad. Two things left. So one is DC Superhero Girls, Date with Disaster. Again, obsession of my daughter with these books. She learned to read from them. The art style, though, it must be said, it's lovely. It's really just cute. It's easy to read. Oh, Catwoman's in this one. She's going to love it. The characters just have such an iconic look that's like comic book, but also animation, but also just so plain and enjoyable. I love it. So, of course, they're changing it. They're doing an animated series, and they completely redesigned all the looks for the animated series. I guess television, the animation style is like much more that kind of angular style is in. But I really like the comic-inspired stuff here. So I saved perhaps the best one for last. Highly recommended. Victor LaValle's Destroyer. This comic book, it's from Boom. Boom, people associate them a lot with kids' comics. They have Boom Box and Boom Studios. They release Lumberjanes, Giant Days, which is not a kids' comic. A lot of younger reader stuff. But they also did Suicide Risk, which I've covered on this channel and this series. This is a deep book. It looks great. The message was amazing. It tells a modern-day Frankenstein story, but instead of an anonymous monster assembled from the graves on the countryside, it is a child, young black boy, who is killed for no reason by police violence, as many black youths are in the United States today. I just read one, actually, that happened on Tuesday. And so it's deep and tough, but it doesn't linger on that at the expense of a really cool comic book. It makes you feel it because the comic is cool. So not only is there that aspect of Frankenstein, but the original Frankenstein is in it too. And it's kind of about this dichotomy of creationism and trying to preserve life. Is all life meant to be preserved? Can you reverse the wrong of a death with an act of creation, even if that creation is this kind of supernatural, bringing something back from the dead? Just such a great read. I actually read the first 3 issues digital, stopped, finished reading them digital, and then went back and reread the whole thing. And then when this came out, I had it in and out of my cart. I was like, do I need it? Because I've been reading so much more digital now. I'm trying to, like, not expand this because good Lord is it huge already. But I just was looking at it. I'm like, I want to send a message with my sale that this book was good. I want to be able to talk about it and hold it in my hand on the channel. And I know that I'm going to want to read it again. And I think at the point that you're reading a book for a 3rd or 4th time, it's nice to have a physical copy. So highly recommended. Victor LaValle's Destroyer. Fantastic book. So that is my early March haul from In Stock Trades here in New Zealand. It's been hauled all around the world. And thank you for tuning in and listening to my yammering about the books. I hope you continue to watch me here on my channel and on Crushing Comics.